was spending all this time for years working, grinding, late nights, co-working spaces, motivational videos, and seeing all these people on Instagram doing so well and thinking, what is their secret? What I found, accountability to someone else that is not me, singular focus, that supercharged everything. And when I burned the boats and when I went all in, and that's when in that year we hit 4.2 million in revs.
All right, welcome everybody, and we're live. Today I'm joined by Austin. Austin has been a client with us for over 1.5 years, and Austin has been quite the business owner and entrepreneur. And today I'm super pumped, Austin, to have you on board to talk a little bit about your journey, how you basically went from 0 to 15 million in rev, as well as 5 million in profit in 4 years in your online journey. You had an agency, you basically also had e-com brands, as well as now the most exciting feature you have is you have a consulting business where you help aspiring founders launch their own brands and have a freedom lifestyle. So Austin, super pumped to have you on board, man.
Grateful to be here. Excited to chat.
Nice. Yeah, I think this is going to be super value driven and value packed, because Austin is one of the guys, you guys will see now as you're watching this, Austin is a real executor. We met basically in Dubai at Affiliate World beginning of 23, right? But actually, we talked already before. I think we did a podcast way back. Remember when we did the first podcast? You were also so deep in high performance and you were already super dialed in. And then basically we decided to work together, help you get dialed in. And since then, you have done a lot of stuff. Since then, you had your own agency that you transitioned out of. Then you had like some e-com brands that you scaled. And now you've built a consulting business from scratch to like multi-7 figures already. So Austin, walk us through a little bit. How was that journey from you starting out to what you're doing now?
If we dial it all the way back, I started making videos for local businesses. I picked up a camera at 16 because my mum bought it for me so I could vlog a football trip I did to Spain. It was a terrible vlog series. It's unlisted on my YouTube channel right now, but that was my first experience of making video content. So I started experimenting with that. That led to a few paid projects. And then I saw an ad on how to build a social media marketing agency halfway through my last year of high school. And at that point, I'd already thought about, is there something else out there that isn't university? Is there a different way I could do this? Could I make money an alternative way? And when I saw that ad, something clicked and it just switched. I was like, I need to do this. I swapped all my subjects at school. In the middle of the last year, the teachers were like, what are you doing? You've got 6 months left. But I did it because I felt like it had to be done. I had a gut feeling. And from that point onwards, school finished, built a video production business, which was me as a freelancer at the start, then turned it into a business with editors and VAs. Then that turned into an agency when COVID hit, and I was forced to bring it all online. Couldn't record video content anymore in person for my clients. They shut their doors. Didn't need video content because why are they marketing right now? So I switched to making video ads for e-com brands. Got really excited about e-com because we're making these ads for e-com brands. They were getting great results. And I was like, this is cool. Maybe we should try this. And that took me to the next season of my journey, which was building e-com brands. Did that full time for a few years and I still run them now. And then 1.5 years ago, I launched my education business, Freedom Club, with my 2 best mates and co-founders, Will and Josh. So we've just been focusing on that for the past 1.5 years, helping people live the freedom lifestyle, being able to break free, do what you want to do, wherever you want, whenever you want, and just have a really fun and enjoyable life. And got a lot of fulfillment out of that. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, went through a lot of the common business models, but now my sole focus is on the e-commerce industry, but more specifically on the education side.
Dude, I love it so much. And also like a lot of people I talk to, they say like, yeah, I've built these huge businesses, but actually there was not much substance behind that. And I know for you, it was different. I think you told me about this, the agency, it was like multi-6 figures, right? So it was not super huge, but it was still a solid business, right? That was the agency. And then from there, the e-com brands, also 7-figure rates. And then also the consulting business now, you're also saying you're on track to make an 8-figure business as well, right? So just for people to have some ballpark. And you said basically also that in those 4 years, you have in total like 15 million in revenue and around 5 million in profits, right? And so these are some numbers that, let's be real, most people never get to in their whole life, maybe not, let alone in 4 years, right? So With that being said, I want to ask you a little bit. This is an extraordinary result for sure. And that's why I want to know a little bit about you. What was like over that journey, over those 4 years, or maybe also as you were scaling up more in the last 1 year, what were some of those things that you feel like were the game changers for you that allowed you to get those results? What were some of those moments or those milestones that made you say, oh yeah, this was really what helped me achieve that?
The biggest principle that comes to mind is focus. There was a point where I was trying to run multiple businesses at the same time, the agency, the e-com brands. I had other side projects. I thought to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to have multiple ventures all making money for you. And what I failed to realize is that at the early stage, running multiple things is not the right thing to do. Once you get them to an established level and you build a team, sure, now you can explore the next opportunity, the next project to take you to that next level. But running 3 mediocre businesses at the same time, they were mediocre in my eyes. I wasn't doing any of them particularly well. For example, I did, I think, 150,000 as a freelancer making video content. The agency did about 450,000 in rev. But then once I started focusing for the first time and saying, you know what? I don't care about a plan B. I don't care about putting all my eggs in one basket. I'm just going to do it and I'm going to commit to it. And if it all crashes and burns, it's okay. I'll start again. And that was when I moved into building e-commerce stores. And when I burned the boats and when I went all in and had singular focus for the first time in my life, that's when in that year we hit 4.2 million in rev and well over $1 million in profit, 1.5 or so. And that point is like, that was the light bulb moment. I was spending all this time for years working, grinding, late nights, co-working spaces, motivational videos, all these things to get me going. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. And seeing all these people on Instagram doing so well and thinking, what is their secret? But then when I just focused on one thing, and I didn't necessarily cut out all these bad habits or stop scrolling on my phone. All those things aside, I wasn't eating particularly well at the time either. Put all those things to the side, which all these successful entrepreneurs say you need to do, put them to the side. I just focused on one thing. And as soon as I focused, then hit bigger results. I was like, that's the key. The key wasn't me choosing one of these business models. It wasn't that I woke up early every day. It wasn't that every day was a perfect routine. It was that I was able to stick with one thing. So the biggest principle for me has been focus. And now whenever I catch myself trying to do other things, I'm always brought back to that focus.
Love it. It's this recurring theme that it always gets back to in business, right? How to be dialed in your focus as well, how to execute better and choose one strategy and stick to it. As a bit of context, most people that follow me and what we do with clients now see that we help a lot of clients with strategy and how to grow, let's say, an agency to 100K, cut time in ops, or even leadership with e-com founders and so on. But for you, when we met and when you said, hey, we should work together and should support you, basically for you, we didn't help you really with strategy. Like for you, you knew what you were doing. You had your focus, how you wanted to scale those brands, and you knew how you wanted to take it to the next level. For you, you basically said you wanted help with execution and be dialed in. So let's touch on that for a little bit. What was one of the things that you felt like when we worked together, you were looking for help with? And what were those biggest game changers for you that allowed you to stay focused, to stay dialed in and really scale those brands to the next level?
When I was starting out for the first few years, my routine was I'd sit down on my own schedule, get out my laptop and sort of will myself into getting work done. No one was holding me accountable. No one had deadlines or targets that I had to meet. I hadn't promised anything to anyone. I was just working. And what I found is that, yes, there are times where you're extremely motivated. You might have a week where you do loads of work, you smash it, you do an amazing week of work, but then you fall off and you procrastinate more and you don't get as focused on your work. Partnering up with you and the team, and then obviously what I've tried to carry through now is accountability to someone else that is not me. I can create a vision board. I can think about my dream life. I can think about all these things that I want. But if I don't have someone holding me accountable, like a coach, or just someone that I can voice these things to, could be a friend or a family member, I'm going to do this week. And if I don't, I'm letting you down. That supercharged everything for me. Because now I went from being someone that I'd like to consider myself pretty productive and able to get work done. Now I was accountable to someone. I had to sit down and get it done. And I think the best superpower for young entrepreneurs and people early in their journey is creating delusion. You have to create artificial deadlines. You have to get someone to hold you to them so you stay focused and follow through. And so that was what supercharged everything for me. When we started working together last year, I now had a coaching team where I was held accountable. I said I was going to do these things. And every time we hopped on the group call and I had like the red X next to the project I said I was going to do,
Yeah.
I felt like I would feel so disappointed if I got to that point, because you'd ask me, be like, what happened, man? Why didn't you stick to your targets? Yeah. And that there forced me to do more. And so I think it's sometimes difficult early on to be like, okay, who's going to coach me? Who's going to do this? Just tell a friend, tell a family member, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your brother, tell your sister, tell your friend down the road. I'm going to do this by this date. And if I don't, then you can either set punishments, which I've experimented with, or rewards, or you can just feel a sense of commitment to them. You've voiced it. It's clear. That's really turbocharged things for me, is the accountability.
100%. And that's the thing. When you're a business owner or a founder, entrepreneur, you don't have anyone to report to. I guess when you have business partners, it's a bit different. You could try to hold each other accountable a bit, right? But it's also, you don't have that external perspective from someone outside of your business. That's a little bit the challenge. And also what's important is that you have some form of peer community of people on a similar path as you, because you can go ahead and tell your mom and dad about your goals and so on, but are they going to follow up with, have you done it? And are you feeling like there's also maybe this healthy sense of competition? Because I remember you're a super competitive guy. When we had the events and we did go-karting or we did paintball or all the good stuff, laser tag and things like that, I know you always wanted to win. And most of the guys who are crushing it in business, they have a lot of these competitive elements, right? And so I would think about also, if you're a founder, agency, e-com, think about how can you create a healthy sense of competition where you, not in an envious way, but in a way where you feel like I want to compare myself to others with a healthy competition that, you know, like you did, for example, when we compared, did everybody achieve the goals every week? You said, oh, damn, this week I didn't. And then it bothered you because some others maybe did. And that pushed you harder to get it done next time, right? And so I guess this healthy sense of competition is super important. And obviously, what have you done? I mean, going forward in terms of habits, what allowed you actually stay so focused? Because you mentioned the accountability was one aspect, but you also mentioned staying dialed in and not getting distracted on shiny objects, right? So at the end of the day, what do you feel like? Was it the accountability that kind of like we said, hey, don't do other stuff? Or was it more like you felt like the habits that helped you to block out distractions? What is the secret for you to stay focused?
The first part, going back to the competition side, incredibly important. Early last year, before I started the education business, before I met my now two best mates and co-founders, when I met them for the first time and we went to the gym for the first time together, I was like, these guys are jacked and I am not jacked. I am overweight. I'm not as fit as I once was. So instantly, I was like, regardless of how anything else in my life is going, I don't want to lose to them. I want to be just as fit, just as jacked as them. And so there was the micro competition in the gym. When they're lifting heavy, I want to lift heavy. When they've got perfect form, I want to have perfect form. When they eat well and we're around each other all the time and they're having this whole food diet, steak and eggs and spinach, for me, that was very foreign. I wouldn't eat like that. I feel a sense of competition. I have to eat well. Otherwise, they're going to get ahead. So I think putting yourself in an environment like that, incredibly valuable. That's on the fitness side. And that was just one part. And that turbocharged everything else. But then on the business side, exactly like you said, being around people that are running businesses bigger than me and spending less time working drives me nuts. I'm like, how are they doing this? And it forces me to think differently about how to build my business and life in the way that will give me that particular lifestyle. I don't work as hard now as I did, say, 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I was putting in massive volume of hours and I wasn't getting nowhere near the same output. But putting myself now around those dinner tables with people that are doing much better than me with less effort, it looks like from the outside looking in, drives me nuts. And so it pushes me to be better. So there's the accountability, yes. Being surrounded by people and creating that sense of competition, I think is the perfect starting point because it gets you to think bigger about your health, about your spirituality, about your business performance, about everything that you do in your life. And then from there, you use the accountability network that you have, which could be those people. Like I said to Will and Josh, hold me accountable. I do not want to order from Uber Eats anymore. I want to be eating clean with you. I want to go to the gym and be able to go rep for rep with you and not feel like you just smash me out the park because you're much stronger. So I made that commitment to them. And then when I'm there, I felt a sense of obligation. I can't just let them down. I want to show that I'm a man of my word and I'm going to stick to what I say. And so I think starting with competition, if you can't create competition and you need a way to clarify what you want to do, that's where I come back to motivation is the main reason why. Not rah-rah, watch a YouTube video, get excited, work for a week and then crash and burn. No, I'm talking about why do you want to achieve the things you want to achieve? Is it you want to retire your mum? Is it you want to travel the world? Is it you just want 5K a month so that you can just take the pressure off at home and not have to worry about bills anymore? That is what's very important to get clear on. And that's what I teach everyone in the education business is that this is the start. You need to figure out what you want. Otherwise, what good is 10K a month? What good is 100K a month if you don't know what it's for? I think a lot of people throw arbitrary goals around without realizing what it means to them. And so when I started thinking about how do I stay focused? How do I stay consistent with what I'm doing? It all came back to having a great circle around me, yes, but being very clear on why I wanted to achieve those things. Why do I want to have that physique? Why do I want to eat well? Why do I want to make this kind of money or go to this place? And when you get clear on that, if it takes you a week to get clarity, worth it every second, because then you're so much more focused on your work. You're going to be so much more focused when you feel tired or that temptation to pick up your phone and doom scroll for 10 minutes on Instagram. Be like, I need to do this, and this is the reason why. It's clear in my mind, and so I can stay focused. A couple of superpowers there: competition, accountability, and then just clarity on the goals and what you're doing it for.
100%, man. And I love what you're saying, that you need the clarity around what you're wanting to achieve and what really drives you. And one thing that I feel like is important to add is that we see that a lot with a lot of founders that are getting started out, maybe wanting to build an agency or maybe, at the 5, 10K, 15K per month level. And what many people don't realize is that to be able to achieve your goals, you need to be willing to also sacrifice other things. Because you cannot just say, hey, I'll have everything and I watch Netflix 5 hours per day. And, you need to ask yourself, what are you willing to give up on to be able to achieve your goals? Because if your goals are really important for you, let's say you want to be in great shape, you want to be financially in a good position, and maybe have freedom of being able to travel. These are goals, let's be real, that 99% of the people on the whole planet will never achieve, right? Having all of this in one place. And so you need to ask yourself, what are you willing to also give up on and go through until you achieve this? Because I think that's a big thing that people out there don't talk about enough, is that entrepreneurship is difficult. It's not always easy. That underestimate this, that you need to be able to have a certain sense of grit, of focus, of discipline and consistency, doing some things that others wouldn't do for a certain period of time. Like you said, giving up on maybe eating out for a while, giving up on partying, giving up on just scrolling your phone and watching series all day, right? You need to give up on this. What was it for you? I'm curious, when you started to take business more seriously, what was it that you felt like you need to give up on and sacrifice to allow you to achieve your goals?
I think the formula, first of all, for being successful or building a business that gives you financial freedom, there's really two things. You pick a business model and then you just do it for 5 years. And I guarantee that anyone will have success. If you stick with something for 5 years and that's it, look, it's a simple process. You got 2 steps. Pick a business, stick with it for 5 years, but it is not easy in the slightest. But that is the simple formula for everyone. And I think a lot of people then see that part and say, well, no, I want to do it in a year. No, this person online did it in 6 months. I want to do it in 6 months. You're not getting the point. You have to pick something and stick with it. And if it happens faster, amazing. But if it doesn't, you have to be ready for it to take time. So I had an honest look at myself at a few points in the past 5 years. One of them was about my health. I looked at myself in the mirror one day. I stepped on the scales. I was 112, 113 kilos. I looked at myself, took my shirt off, and I'm like, I'm not happy with who's looking back at me. I was once a fit teenager. I could run forever. I played football every day. I was a sporty guy. And then all of a sudden, I just neglected that because I thought that was what was needed to be successful. And then so I had a hard look at myself and I said, I need to change this. I gave up unhealthy eating from that point onwards. Not only is it making you feel bad, but you're not able to stay focused on your work. You're not able to make good decisions. Your sleep is terrible. every night. And no wonder that you feel bad and you have brain fog and all these things. So I pushed through it at that time. If I started eating healthy 4 years earlier, I think I'd be a lot further ahead than I am now. But the things that I really knew I had to give up, my vices, were excessive YouTube consumption. I'm a big YouTube guy. I love YouTube videos. I love watching some of the most random YouTube videos out there. Like one day I'll watch a try not to laugh challenge. And then the other day I'll be watching a vlog from Homozy. And in recent times, I'm watching videos on them restoring cars. And I'm finding this really interesting. And so at the time back then, I was spending a lot of time on YouTube, especially at night. I'd get back after working and I just want to decompress. And what I found is that, look, how about I just delete Instagram off my phone? And if I really want to scroll at some point during the week, I can just download the app and spend 20 minutes on it. But by removing it from my phone, or I had this trick where I used to hide my TV remote in a cupboard, like really high up in my kitchen. So if I wanted to watch TV, it had to be a really conscious decision to watch it. It's like, you know what? I'm going to get that remote. I'm going to plug it all back in, plug in the TV, turn it on and watch. So it removes the whole, let's just watch, pick up the remote, boom. Let's just go on Instagram, hop on your phone, click on the Instagram app. Make it a bit more difficult to make the negative decisions. Deleting Uber Eats off my phone. It's another step I have to go through to eat worse. That's been the best tactic I've applied. I think Sam Ovens calls it designing your environment for optimal defaults. So you make it difficult to make the wrong decision. You make it easy to make the right one. And so it wasn't so much, I wasn't a big partier. I never drank alcohol. I never did drugs. That wasn't me. And so I didn't have to give up on those. It was the Instagram scrolling here, 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. And it all stacks up. YouTube video. I'll just watch one more. It's only 20 minutes long. Another one. And it was those things. So when I started making it more difficult to do those things, all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, I'm getting more work done. Oh, wow, my e-com brands are growing faster. Oh, well, I feel better about my life.
Yeah, 100%. The whole game of focus is such an underestimated skill, especially you talked about the micro aspect of it, right? Not getting distracted on a daily level. But then again, also on a macro level, right? How do you make sure you follow the right business model? And within the business model, there's also 1,000 strategies you could be doing, right? So how do you make sure that you don't get distracted with different ideas within the business? I like the idea of saying, hey, choose a business model, stick with it for 5 years. But within the business model, right, there's 1,000 ways to generate more business, more deals, sell your products. Let's say you have an e-com brand. There's where you could advertise. No, go in that channel, do this channel, do influencers, do that, do this. Let's say you surround yourself with a cool community of people. Then you're even getting more ideas because for one guy, this is working. For another guy, this is working, right? So how do you make sure you balance this, that you keep things simple, you don't overanalyze it and have 1,000 strategies that you're testing out and maybe not doing any one properly? What was it for you? What's the tip of advice you would give that within that strategy, you're choosing one business model, you also keep it simple and don't get distracted on shiny objects and new ideas all the time?
Pick one person and follow them blindly. Whatever they say to do, you listen to them. Of course, there'll be other ideas. There's other influencers that say, use this brand new untapped method that no one's used before to acquire clients for your agency. Yes, there's always going to be something. There's always going to be a different way to do things. But I really like first principles thinking, or breaking things down to the core. And when you think about it, if you want to grow an agency, you need more customers, you need more clients. How are you going to get them? Well, you got to reach out to them. So irrespective of all these different methods of outreach or the best strategies or cold call scripts or all this, you need to find a way where you can just consistently reach out to new clients. You're going to get 1,000 no's, but you're going to get some yeses. So for me, I started doing cold email when I was building an agency. Yes, I knew cold calling could probably work. Yes, I knew running ads could probably work. There's so many angles that could have worked. But early on, one of my early influencers to listen to, he said, email marketing is how I've done it. I can tell you how I've done it. You just got to follow it. Great. And I said, you know what? Put everything else to the side. I'm just going to do email marketing. I'm just going to do cold email outreach to the clients. And if it works, great, but I'm going to stick with it. I'm not just going to do it for a week or a month and say, you know what, that doesn't work. I think people end up shooting themselves in the foot because they swap between outreach methods. They do it for a month and a half, and then throw in the towel and have to do something else. What they don't realize is that they're stuck with it for a few more weeks, then it's going to start working, or they stuck with it for a few more cold emails, they're going to land that first client. It's not so much that the outreach method doesn't work or anything like that. It's just a time thing. You need to spend more time. And I think a lot of people's perception on what a high volume of work is greatly misunderstood, because we have these people online that make it out to be so easy, so simple. Send an email, get your first client tomorrow, where it's not like that. It takes hundreds, it takes thousands. You will get loads of no's. I've been on hundreds, thousands of Zoom calls with potential clients, with people that I've tried to bring onto our company, or all those different micro sales pitches. And I've got so many no's. And I think that's part of it. You realize at a certain point that is good, because every single no, you're going to get a little bit closer to the yes. So my play is focus on one acquisition method and listen to one person. If you just stick with what they say, you're going to get the results you want. If it takes a little bit longer, that's okay, but don't keep swapping. Delete the podcast app off your phone for a few months and just listen to that one person. Stop YouTube for a little bit so that you can listen to that one person and not have a great Gary Vee idea thrown at you and you're like, oh, I should do that instead. Just stick with one person. Like if Kilian says to do outreach in this certain way because it works, I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to do it and I'm going to stick with it until I have the results.
Dude, I love it so much. And it's a blessing that we have access to smart minds like Alex Hormozy and other great business owners and can get insights. But you always have to ask yourself, what's relevant for me at the current stage of my business? And you ideally find someone that can help you specifically at the current stage of your business. I think that's the secret, because the problem is if you have tons of different ideas from tons of different people, that's the reason why one of them is not working. So for example, we see tons of agency owners, they juggle all these different outreach methods. They do cold calling, they do cold email, they do a little bit of ads as well. And then they're wondering why none of them really works. And I was like, why don't you just do one? Get it dialed in, get it validated, do it properly, get some outside help to get it done. And then from there, once that's working, take the next one. And I think most people could just, by focusing on one path, do it long enough, would probably solve the acquisition problems. Right? It's a super good point that you made there. And one thing I wanted to touch on is what I love about you, Austin, is you're a guy that is really incorporating your own brand. But just for everyone wondering, your new business is called Freedom, and you basically help people literally acquire freedom by building an e-com brand that supports their lifestyle, where they can travel the world like you're doing it. Just as a quick heads up, you recorded course material for this brand across the globe. That was crazy stuff. I've seen you travel through the Sydney Opera House, the Colosseum in Rome, and like all across the world. And in front of these iconic places, you recorded that course material, which is pretty sick. And so that leads me to the question, how do you do it when traveling? Like I see you traveling quite a bit, right? Across different places, living in different places, Europe, Asia, Middle East, everything. And so how do you do it when traveling? How do you still keep productive and balance also all these things, these other habits that are important for you?
Last year, I experimented for the first time with bringing my monitor with me everywhere. And so I got a second suitcase, I packed it up, and I started traveling with it. The reason why is because back in Adelaide, my hometown, before I started this whole freedom lifestyle and traveling the world and seeing all these cool places and working abroad, I had a desk set up at my old apartment, and I'd work at the same desk every day, just constantly. And I really missed that. The travel was great, but it got to a point where I was like, I wish I just had my chair. I wish I just had my microphone that I was all set up the right way, my lights, my this, my that. And I just didn't have that. And so what I tried to do instead was, if you're traveling and that's an important part of life for you, then I find the best way to be more productive is to, first of all, have a work environment that is away from people. Now, this just depends on who you are. Some people like working in a co-working space. They feel a sense of accountability in a way to everyone else. They're not going to sit scrolling Instagram in the middle of a co-working space because everyone's going to look at them, even though no one actually cares what you're doing. For me, I want to sit in a room by myself. I don't want to be interrupted. I don't want someone to walk past and be like, hey, how's it going, man? Like, that's just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And so for me, wherever I'm traveling, I need to find a desk set up up in a part of the house, or I'll put one in my room. I have bought desks online before and then left them at apartments or Airbnbs because I was like, the work and the focus for me is worth so much more than the $80 to buy a desk from IKEA. Like, it's worth it to just get it and leave it there at the Airbnb. So yeah, all the Airbnb hosts, no worries, you're welcome for me adding extra furniture to your apartments. It's worth all the money. The key thing for me is just keeping the setup as consistent as I possibly can. The environment's different, the place where we are is different, the routine is slightly different as well, different gyms, different food, different rooms in general, because we're always moving around. But what stays the same is my work setup. What stays the same is my task management, how I'm always using Notion to break down what I need to do each day. All these things stay incredibly consistent, because then it doesn't matter where I am in the world. It's like, cool, I got my to-do list. I've got my list broken down in Notion. I've got my vision board here. I've got everything clearly laid out. So tomorrow I could pack up shop, and I'm actually doing this in 2 days' time. I'm going back to Adelaide, my hometown, for a bit. And so I know when I get back there, yes, I'll sit in my old room at my parents' house because they will not let me stay anywhere else. When I'm back in Adelaide, they're like, no, you come home and you stay here.
Nice.
And it's like, okay. So when I'm set up there, as soon as I open the laptop, I'm just locked back in because it's the same. It doesn't change. So I think that's the superpower of staying productive while traveling is not, well, I'm sure there's supplement stacks you could take. I'm sure there's certain routines that would give you more peace and focus. But for me, I like to keep it incredibly simple. If I just have everything laid out on my computer and it's mapped out, not just a day in advance, but if I have a week, a month, a few months, a year, mapped out as clearly as I can, then it doesn't matter where I am. Work has to be done. Got to tick off the things on the to-do list.
That's such a good point because it shows that you're organized and you're structured when you open your laptop, what you're working on. And that's one of the weaknesses I see some entrepreneurs have. They open their laptop and it's just stuff jumps at them. You know, like random notifications from everything, emails pop out left and right, 1,000 tabs are open. Obviously, you're not going to get a lot of stuff done like this. And I remember when we were in Barcelona at one of the retreats, you showed also a little bit how you use Notion. I mean, people can use whatever, right? ClickUp, Notion, Todoist, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter as long as you find a way that makes it simple for you to break down your goals. So you just made a good point. Vision board, long-term goals. What do I want to achieve for my physique, for my business, financial goals, and then break it down into goals for the year ahead and for the next month and so on. And once you do that, I think you make a great point because you know what needs to be worked on. You find a simple way to execute it. I think the thing that's key, though, is that you find a way to stay productive, not get distracted by other people, find your style of working, and then you can get stuff done, right? However, I want to ask you, how do you do it, especially when traveling? There's a difference between short-term travel, like just a few days visiting a city. I'm not talking about that because that's more like vacation. I'm talking more about these, hey, for a few weeks somewhere, or maybe a month or so, or changing locations every few weeks or a few months down the road, right? How do you do it then? How do you manage, for example, those 3 areas, health, wealth, relationships, right? So how do you do that? Like, how do you juggle all of these 3 areas, maybe even with changing locations? What's your approach for staying dialed in there?
Super simple strategies that I've picked up from the past 2 years of traveling full time. The first one on health. As soon as you get to a place, you unpack your suitcase and you hide the suitcase. I do not want to see it while I'm there. And that also plays into the fact of sticking in one spot, if you can, for a few weeks at least, ideally a month or more, because then it feels like you're living there. You're not so much traveling, you're just living in a new location. I much prefer that. I don't want to be somewhere for 3 days and then hop somewhere else. That would be impossible to work. And props to anyone listening if they're able to do that, but that's just not for me. So on the health side, get the suitcase out of mind because you want to feel like you're living there. Unpack everything. Make it feel like your space, your setup. If you have a desk in your room, get it set up how you like and face it towards a window so you're getting natural light. On the other side of health, eating. So I think the thing with eating whole foods and eating a clean diet is that regardless of where you are in the world, you're probably going to have access to those things. Like most places in the world, I think it's safe to say you can get some eggs or you can get some red meat. And it's not too difficult. It's not like, I have this complex meals. Just keep it simple. And that's really helped me over the years. Is that, you go out and you eat and you have dinner with your boys and all that stuff. Or you might go on a date here or there and you're having something different. Maybe you get dessert because she wants a dessert as well. But it is what it is. But overall, from a consistency standpoint, just keeping the diet simple as best as you can. And then the last part is I always try and find a local gym that is close to the Airbnb or the place we're staying, even if that means that we're choosing between two places to stay, but one of them is closer to the gym and closer to the beach, for example. So I could go and jump in every day or go in the sun a little bit more. We will pick the one, me and my mates, that is closer to the gym and closer to the beach because we know that it's going to be easier to make the right decision. If it's a half an hour drive to get to the gym, you're going to start thinking, oh, I can't make it today. I'm too busy. Schedule's too big. But if we design it in a way, we design our environment and our travel to make the right decisions, all of a sudden it's so much easier. And if I think back over the past year, 2 years, where we've been situated and the locations we've chosen, it's always been really close to a gym. It's always been really easy to get access to a good supermarket or get healthy food. It's been pretty close to the beach in a lot of these places. So if we want to go spend time in the sun or go in the water every morning just to wake up and take care of your health, then you can do that. It's not a difficult thing to do. So that's the health side. Wealth side on the travel is just having consistency with the work that you're doing, having a good to-do list, breaking it down exactly as we said, dream life. And the reason that I like painting out the dream life first and why I think it's good to start there is because you basically create a vision board. And I say this to everyone when they don't know why they want to do what they want to do. You create the vision board not so you can look at it and manifest it. Why I do it is I want to create this so then I can calculate what the dream or target income is to achieve this lifestyle. I know what I want. Do I want this car? Do I want to live in this place? Do I want to take care of my family or have this or have that? To achieve that lifestyle, I need $100 a month for this. I need $400 a month for that, $1,000 for this, that. And now you've calculated what your dream life or target income is. If I hit $6,500 a month in income, great. I know I can live this dream life. Now you have a target that actually makes sense. So I find that's very important to me. I change my vision board regularly. Every few months, I feel like it needs to be refreshed and I reset what my target is. And so even when I'm traveling, I'm clear on what I want to achieve. I'm clear on the target. I know why I want to hit the target. If it's 100K, if it's 1 million, if it's 2 million, I know what it is and I know why it's important to me. I haven't just pulled out a number out of a webinar that I saw online or a YouTube video. No, I figured out what's important for me and why I want to hit that. So then when I'm traveling around, it doesn't matter where I am. The goal's still the same. I've got the same targets. And so there's that. And then the last part is relationships. This is the thing that I think throws people off. And I think the best thing you can do as a young male entrepreneur, especially, is just put your head down for a few years. Just focus on improving, better yourself, better your mindset, better your body, better your finances. Create a circle of brotherhood around you. As you travel and move around the world, you will meet more incredible guys that are also on a similar goal and trajectory and wanting to get better themselves. And I find that when you put your head down and do that for a while and you surround yourself with your brothers and you don't worry about romantic relationships or dating or anything like that, which is different from a committed long-term relationship. I think having one of those is one of the best things that you can have because you have this person that's your cheerleader that wants you to win and wants you to be successful. But I'm reflecting on dating, which can be a huge energy suck. It can be something that takes a lot of money and time and energy away. For now, guys, it'll come. It'll come. There'll be a time in the future where you're going to be able to go out there, present yourself to the world and be at such a high level because you've taken care of yourself first. And so that's been my mentality. Put my head down 3 years or so. I was in a long-term relationship at the start of my business journey, but when we broke up, I just said, look, I'm just going to focus on me. I'm just going to do my thing. I've got to improve. I've got to get better. And then even now, I don't feel like I'm ready to date. I'm become addicted to the growth and improving and getting better and just delaying getting into a relationship or delaying going on those dates because I'm like, I've still got room to grow. I love this. I want to get better so that I can be the best person for my future wife and kids. And that's how I always frame it. And so some people, they want to go on dates, but it's a trade-off. Like you said before, if you're going out there, you're traveling the world, you're this amazing young entrepreneur that's kicking goals, making all this money. Yes, you're going to want to, I guess, go on those dates. But I find that if you just delay it a little bit, then in all honesty, the access to certain levels of women that you will have later on is just much better. You'll meet the people that are like, I really respect the work you've put in on yourself over the past few years. I really appreciate how you're just so clear-minded and you take care of me when we're together and you just have your life sorted out. That's extremely desirable to, the kind of women that you probably want to attract as a driven guy, a motivated guy. You want someone like that. And I've just found that when you focus on yourself, you end up attracting better women in your life as well. Not just better friends and brothers and people around you, but you also attract the kind of women that you want that could be great long-term partners. They could be your cheerleaders. They could be the people that will help you push for higher goals. But that's how I manage the health, wealth, and relationships while traveling.
I love that. It's a general mindset that's applicable for men, women, anyone really. Is like, instead of seeking stuff from others, what you're really doing is you're making sure that you are someone that can provide value to others, right? So you're first looking, hey, I'll have my life sorted. I'm financially stable. I'm someone that learns, improves, reads things, personal development. I'm healthy, I'm fit, and I'm also stable psychologically, emotionally, and so on. And so once you have all these things and you're continuously working on yourself, it's almost like that people feel like they want to be part of the ride. They want to feel like, oh, this person is going places. This person is not, staying in the same place. This person is developing. And I think once you're building this momentum, that your life is actually exciting, that you are doing stuff, you're growing, you're developing, then it's almost, I would say, when you surround yourself with the right people, this happens almost naturally, because you don't necessarily need to then go out and seek people specifically. It might even happen that, let's say, you go to a conference where other entrepreneurs are, or you go to some masterminds or some networking opportunities and you find someone that even would be a fit for you on a romantic level, right? So I think super important insights here. Start with yourself first and build your life first. One thing I wanted to add to the vision board thing, I love this idea. And, when a lot of us calculate the lifestyle that we want to have and how much that would cost us, right? But a lot of the things we do is also future driven, right? So we think about, I want to build this business to that level in the future so that I can allow myself these things. So I'm curious, Austin, how far yourself are you thinking out into the future? Because let's say we're talking someone that's maybe in their 20s, end of 20s, beginning of 30s. Depending on how far you're thinking out in terms of your goals, you might be calculating for buying a house someday, raising a family, maybe even paying for the education of future kids, right? So all of that, and the more you're going out, the more complicated it's going to get to have a specific number where you want to get to in your business to get this. Because I can say, yeah, right now, what do I need? I need that much, that X amount, right, to live a lifestyle. Cool. But I don't know how much I need in 5 years, in 10 years. And that in the end determines also how big you want to grow your business, right? And how far you want to go. So how do you do it yourself, Austin? How do you calculate these numbers and how do you set the targets for yourself?
I've gone through a lot of vision board iterations, and I was actually, funnily enough, before this call, going over and revising mine because I thought it was a good time to, coming towards the end of the year, 2 months left, let's just refresh on what we're doing this for. And when I looked at what was on my vision board or previous ones, I had images of, a house that I wanted to live in, or future wife and kids. A big one for me is a golden retriever. I really want a golden retriever. I love dogs, and
Why, Austin? Why a golden retriever?
Because they're the best dogs. They're just so fluffy and they love you.
I think the Rottie is much better. A Rottweiler. It's much better. I mean, it depends. And a golden retriever is more a family dog, right? So they're really cute. I get it.
So I had all those things on my vision board. And what I realized, to answer your point, is that they were a little bit too far in the future. The future wife and kids, I don't see myself having kids for at least 5 years. If God has a different plan for me, then fair enough, I'm ready, whatever happens. But I don't see it happening that soon. Or buying that certain house, the family house, and living in that with my future wife and then our kids. I don't see that happening just yet. And so what I consciously did was, on my earliest vision boards, they were the most far in the future. And what I found is that I actually lost motivation because I was like, that is too far away for me to conceptualize how I'm going to get there. That is too distant. What I'm going to do for my vision boards instead is make them a little bit close. So now my vision boards aren't a life vision board. They're just a vision board of where I want to be in, say, 12 months' time. What does life look like in 12 months' time? What have I achieved? Where am I living? Who am I around? What do I look like? What am I eating? All these things. And I found that helped tremendously, because now you're like, okay, I've got the long-term goals. I want the golden retriever. I want the wife and kids, but let's not focus on that right now. For now, I'm just going to focus on getting in better shape. Now I'm going to focus on doing that triathlon so that, I'm forced to take better care of myself. For now, I just want to focus on getting to 10K a month in profit. And so now you've made it so much more simple and it's a lot easier for you to comprehend. I agree with you 100%. Future wife and kids, dog, house. How do we even know what I have to do today in order to achieve those things in 5, 10, 15 years time? Too distant. Let's keep it simple. What do I want in 12 months time? What do I want life to look like a year from now? And so I find that to be a much better way to do it. And then when you hit it, great. Then you refresh. What does the next 12 months? What is the next 6 months? You do it even micro. And so I find that to be an easier way to manage it.
And do you also do it like this then, that you say you just always calculate out for the next level to be at in 1 year? Or do you, for example, when you make plans for where do I want to go to, what's my macro plan for my business, right? When you said, hey, having e-com brands and then consulting businesses, do you actually set yourself a target number that you want to hit with your businesses? Or do you just think every 12 months out from lifestyle iteration to lifestyle iteration?
The frequency at which I update the goals is far less than 12 months. I use that as an example for on the past few years, like what's been the average time I've reassessed big targets and adjusted them. But for me, it's been a lot faster in more recent times because things are changing so quickly. You know, for example, our team was at 30 people like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, and now it's at 68. And it's like things are changing so fast that having a goal for 12 months time, things change so quickly. We might hit that in 3 months. We might hit that in 4. And so forecasting and planning this whole 12 months out when things just change like that, we launch in a new market, numbers change. Okay, this got to adapt. I find it to be smaller timeframes works better. So that's why instead of having the long-term vision board, you have one that's shorter term. How about we just think, what do I want to achieve in the next 6 months? Keeping it really concise and small. But overall, I still use business goals stem from the kind of lifestyle and life I want to create. And so for my education business, for example, Josh, Will, and I had very honest chats, and we still do, about what we want the business to look like and the life that we want the business to give us. And so once we were clear on that, great. Now, what would the financial amount need to be for us to all have the lifestyle that we dream and desire? Great. And now we backtrack from there. You see, it still starts with a vision, and then the vision turns to the goals and the monetary amount. And then the monetary amount becomes daily targets.
Even there, you're thinking just 1 year out? Or do you also think, for example, hey, where do I want to head the business to in the next 5 years? Do I even plan for a potential exit? Do I plan, do you think anytime bigger than 1 year out where you want your business to go? And do you then also try to, because think about this, in business, I see this challenge with myself, with other founders I talk to, you could always say the goal is make more money than previous year, right? But the question is also, is there any end goal? Is there any end level where you say now, I want to hit 10 million. And then after that, I want to hit 50 million, or you know what I mean? Do you have a specific number that you want to hit to, or is it for you just always more? Years out down the line, or do you not even think about that and you think year by year ahead?
I think even less than year by year ahead most of the time. Reason why is because I love the game of building. I've realized that I get immense levels of fulfillment from building. And so it's not so much about me building the thing or having it built, getting to 10 million, getting to 50. It's the person that I would have had to become and the leader I would have had to become and the entrepreneur in order to build a business to that scale. And so that's why I think on the shorter timeframes, yes, there's merit and argument to be made of here's our long-term goal, and we still have them, the education business. We want to donate X amount to philanthropy by this time frame, but it's not a 10-year target, it's a 1-year target. Right now, it's actually got 2 months left till the end of the year, which is our target to hit it by then. But we only set it 6 months ago. And so I find that with targets, you can go both ways. You can say, you know what, I'm going to build this thing, 10-year target, exit it for X amount. I've just adopted a mentality of I enjoy playing the game. This is the most fun video game I could ever imagine, the video game of life and leveling up and building things and traveling and all that kind of stuff. So instead of me trying to get too far out and trying to create these ultra long-term goals, I'll just do that for myself personally. For now, I'm just going to focus on growing the thing as fast as I can. I don't get too caught up on the ultra long-term goals. I think it's good to have one, especially with our team size now getting a lot bigger, to have sort of what are we moving towards together as a team? Because I think team members look to the leaders for that guidance and where we're going, just like a captain on a ship. Where are we heading? The captain needs to know we're going to this port, we're going to go this way, and we're going to get there. If it takes us a little bit longer, that's okay, but that's where we're going. And so everyone can get behind that. I agree to that, but then I don't have elaborate plans on how we're going to hit our 30-year target or 15
Yeah.
years or 10 years. In all honesty, I don't know if the business will be around in its current form that far in the future, or if it will have changed,
Yeah.
or things will have changed, or the way we deliver has changed. Maybe it could be a completely different business in 3 years' time. So that's why I do it on smaller time frames.
Especially with AI, it's like what's upcoming in the next few years. You have no idea how that's going to impact business models in general and how adaptable you have to be. And so you're totally right. It's like you cannot think too far out. It makes total sense. One thing I've seen you do a lot is like personal branding. You do a lot of YouTube videos, which are, by the way, pretty cool, guys. You can check them out as well. Check out Austin on YouTube and on Instagram. And so a lot of people that ask me as well, hey, what do you think about personal branding, posting content, Instagram, YouTube, and just branding myself so I can grow my agency or grow my brand and basically maybe get speaking gigs and things like that. What's your take on this? When should people start considering building a personal brand as well?
I had stints of building a personal brand over the past 4 years where I had these micro, maybe 1-2 month stretches of, I'm going to build a personal brand. I'm going to share all this value. I'm going to build a big YouTube and Instagram audience. But what I kept coming back to was that you just need to put in more work. And then when you do start creating content consistently, people will have a reason to listen to you. I don't care what anybody else says. My strong belief is that no one's going to listen to you unless A, you're in a place where they want to be, or B, you can learn something from them. And those tend to go hand in hand. So when I watch people on YouTube, I'm not watching people in the position I am because I don't care about what they're doing. I'm looking at the people that are 10 steps ahead, 100 steps ahead, because I'm trying to figure out how they got there so I can replicate that. Let's look at the facts completely objectively. 19 years old, I'd made about $150,000 online. Didn't go to university, so I had no formal accreditation. I just moved out of home and I've been running a business for about a year at that point. Okay, with those things, yes, you could argue that maybe a 15-year-old, 16-year-old might listen to that version of Austin because he's gotten a little bit further ahead than where they're at. So cool, he could maybe teach them some stuff. But when I kept coming back to it, I thought, why don't I just put my head down for 3 years? Why don't I just do the thing, not worry about teaching anyone, not worry about sharing what I'm learning, just doing it. And then when I come out and I create YouTube content, or now when I present myself online, and I can actually be a lot more valuable. And I found that to be the best thing to do. People want to learn from someone that's actually walked the walk. I wouldn't listen to all these people online. I wouldn't have listened to you if you didn't have a proven track record of helping people improve their performance, their business results, their productivity, their output. I wouldn't have listened because it doesn't matter how good of a communicator you are. If you don't have the credibility of actually doing the thing, I think it's very unlikely people will listen to you. And so if you look at all the biggest influencers in our space right now, we listen to them, yes, because they're good communicators and probably they're quite charismatic, but it's because they've done the thing. And we hold huge levels of value in knowing that. They drive the certain cars, which means they've achieved certain things with their business, or they're living in certain places of the world, which means they've put in X amount of time and effort into building a business. It's all those signs that they've done the thing. So that's been my approach with personal branding. And now that I'm doing it, I started doing weekly vlogs 2-3 months ago. I've started making them. And I never thought I'd do vlogs. I thought it would be sit down value, 10-minute videos, give you the top 7 things you need to do to be more productive and all that kind of stuff. But what I found is that I'm just making YouTube videos now because I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun for me. It's also a sense of accountability. When I'm solo most of the time, I'm now accountable to a camera to make sure I do stuff during the week. So now I do it for fun. There's no pitch. There's no CTA. The only CTA in my YouTube videos is go and follow me on Instagram. Because I think if you want to see my YouTube life, you maybe want to see what life's like on Instagram as well, BTS, that kind of stuff. So that's my approach now. It's not an elaborate acquisition channel, but I just decided that's for me. Yeah. If you want to build a personal brand, I think it's about committing to it. It's about picking one thing and just sticking with building a personal brand, staying consistent. If that's the way you want to get clients, go for it. But my approach for personal brand was I want to do it when I feel like I can help people, and I want to enjoy doing it as well by making content that I enjoy making.
Love it. And it goes back to what we discussed before. If you choose it as part of your business strategy, it needs to be in line, like not having a million strategies and then adding branding on top. Rather build something first, be able to have a team, outsource part of the work you do, and then from there you have more time to actually put stuff into personal branding? Because I know, Austin, your business is growing, your team is growing, you're hiring more people. You actually have time to actually put stuff into YouTube videos. But if people out there are struggling to deliver for their clients and also getting new clients, if that's your case, don't do YouTube videos. Like literally just make sure you're getting more clients, then hire a team, outsource some of the work. So you basically have a business that runs also without you having to do everything. And as a last question before we wrap things up, Austin, what's ahead for you? Like you have done a tremendous job in the last 4 years and also the last 1.5 years. We worked together and got really nice results for your business, scaled to like 7 figures and the other business multi 7 figures. So what's ahead of you? What are some things that maybe people can look forward to if they check out your content, or what are your goals for the next year?
On the personal brand side, my only goal is just to be consistent. There's no YouTube subscriber goals or Instagram follower goals or anything growth related. It's just, I want to keep making the videos and helping people where I can. On the business side, there's levels to it. And so I'm thinking, what's my next big move? For me, I've been in e-commerce for years. So maybe my next big move is in, private equity or building and partnering with existing e-com brands and helping them grow to much larger levels, something higher tier, not course, not education, not coaching, but really like hands-on, becoming a part of that business. I think that'll be my next big play because it's higher leverage. And the only reason I'm able to do that, just like the only reason I was able to do the coaching business, is because I did the time in e-commerce, because I put in the years and the reps of learning that, understanding the industry, the marketing, all those things. So I think you sort of unlock the ability to progress to the next tier. And I think you see a lot of entrepreneurs following a similar trajectory. They unlock the next thing. Oh, cool, the next level's available. Cool, I can move to that. And you keep unlocking these, but you have to pass the level before you can move to the next. So I see myself in this time next year having made at least another 52 YouTube videos, 1 a week at least, and just consistently stacking those there, putting out the good content and being helpful to people. And then on the business side, I see continuing to grow the coaching business. I see us within the next 12 months having well over 10, 15,000 students worldwide, and the team size being well over 100. So those are the micro goals for me. I enjoy this, and I know God's got a plan for me. And if I just trust in that, then whatever happens, I'll be grateful for. And I'm enjoying the days. It's good fun building a business. There's times where things suck. There's times where things blow up in your face. But my goal for the next 12 months is to just keep having fun with it as well.
Love it. And if people want to learn more about follow your journey, watch the vlogs, what's best? YouTube, Instagram, where should people go?
YouTube. I don't post enough on Instagram. I'm not very active on there. And all I post on Instagram is check out my latest YouTube video.
The name of the channel where people search right now?
Austin Lovell on YouTube. It'll come up. There's not many Austin Lovells making YouTube videos.
Yeah. That's Austin, Lovell, I think, right? That's how you spell it. So for anyone, check out Austin's stuffs. And with that being said, I'm super excited what's ahead for you, Austin. Like, it's been a hell of a ride with you in the last 1.5 years. We're super happy to have been able to support you, contribute to some of your success here, and keep you dialed in. And yeah, I'm excited to see where you're heading things, and hopefully to the moon, man. Been a pleasure talking about this with you.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. Then guys, if you want more info about any of that, also check out our YouTube channel and subscribe if you want more episodes like that. If there's anything we can help you with, check out our website. We'll link all of the things, also Austin stuffs, in the show notes and in the description below. All right, then guys, see you in the next episode.